Welcome to the AXA Engineers podcast, episode 8. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that, well, it might seem purely technical on the surface, but it really has these profound, often overlooked global implications. We're talking about civil engineering outsourcing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you might initially think of outsourcing as, a pretty straightforward, almost transactional cost-cutting measure, something purely about the balance sheets.
That's the common perception, yeah.
Exactly. But I can tell you the landscape has fundamentally shifted. It's truly blossomed, I think, into this dynamic global force. It's actively reshaping how the world's critical infrastructure actually comes to life.
It really has. It's quite remarkable to watch.
So today we're going to unpack how this evolution is fostering incredible collaboration, how it's driving innovation, and even empowering communities worldwide. And right at the very heart of this positive transformation is a unique, I'd say deeply thoughtful approach championed by AXA Engineers.
A key player in this shift, for sure.
Definitely. And as we explore all this, we'd love for you to follow us, maybe comment, share your thoughts. Your insights really help us make these deep dives even more valuable for you.
Absolutely. That's a fantastic way to frame it. Because what's truly fascinating here, I find, is observing how civil engineering outsourcing has matured far beyond its initial perception.
Yeah.
It's really no longer just about the economic bottom line, is it?
Not at all.
It's become this profound global movement that touches so much more than just, engineering schematics or CAD drawings.
Right.
We're talking about creating vital job opportunities, stimulating real economic growth in developing regions, fostering professional development on an international scale,
Huge things.
and even building these bridges of cultural understanding across continents, which is frankly, often underestimated.
Yeah, that cultural piece is interesting.
So the question we're collectively exploring today, I think, is, are we truly building a more connected, more collaborative, and ultimately maybe a more equitable engineering world through this globalized model? And if we are, well, how does AXA Engineers stand out as a blueprint, perhaps even, you could argue, a gold standard for this positive and responsible future?
That's the core question.
Yeah, this deep dive, it's going to reveal the strategic advantages and the positive impact, the real nuggets, if you will, of a well-executed civil engineering outsourcing model. And we'll be highlighting the unique contributions that genuinely set AXA Engineers apart in this, well, rapidly evolving global landscape.
Okay, so let's start by maybe reframing our understanding a bit.
No.
Civil engineering outsourcing has undeniably evolved. It's gone way beyond being just a cost-cutting strategy.
Miles beyond.
Well, sure, initial motivations often revolved around reducing operational expenditures. The shift we're witnessing now feels far more strategic. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, completely. It's a strategic imperative for many firms now.
Companies are increasingly tapping into international expertise, not merely to, shave a few dollars off the budget.
Though efficiency is still a factor, of course.
Of course, but it's more about fundamentally accelerating project delivery cycles, accessing genuinely innovative solutions, ideas that might not be readily available domestically, and significantly reducing the sheer operational burden. Managing these complex, large-scale infrastructure projects, it takes a lot.
It's immense. The overhead, the coordination.
Exactly. So it's about achieving efficiencies, yes, but also about accessing highly specialized expertise and expanding capabilities in ways that were, frankly, previously unimaginable. It's truly enabling firms to tackle more ambitious projects.
Precisely. And this evolution, it brings these immense advantages, absolutely, but it also raises a crucial question, doesn't it?
Always does.
How do we harness these undeniable benefits of civil engineering outsourcing without inadvertently shifting economic and social challenges from one region to another? Creating that perceived zero-sum game where someone has to lose for someone else to win.
Right, the fear of job displacement or skill erosion.
Exactly. And this is really where AXA Engineers offers a distinctly different approach. It's one that seeks true balance rather than mere replacement of domestic roles. Their philosophy isn't just unique. I think it's transformative. It moves far beyond the traditional, purely transactional model that, let's be honest, some companies still kind of cling to.
So what does that balance look like in practice? How does AXA Engineers achieve it?
Well, what AXA Engineers has meticulously implemented is their proprietary two-shift model.
Okay, the two-shift model.
Yeah, and this isn't just some clever branding. It's a really innovative operational structure. It's designed specifically to seamlessly align their offshore operations directly with U.S. working hours.
Okay. Tackling the time zone issue head on.
Head on. Think about the common frustrations with traditional outsourcing, right? The time zone disconnect, those frustrating delays in communication, sometimes just the feeling of working with a remote, sort of detached entity.
Yeah, waiting overnight for a simple clarification.
Exactly. AXA's two-shift model effectively eliminates those traditional barriers. The time zones, the perceived remoteness that often plague offshore collaborations, they just melt away.
So how does that work day to day?
Well, for instance, picture this. When the U.S. team logs off in the evening, say 5 p.m. Eastern, the AXA offshore team, maybe in Southeast Asia or India, is just starting their workday. They're ready to pick up exactly where the U.S. team left off, seamlessly.
No downtime.
Precisely. And they leverage, advanced cloud-based BIM platforms, real-time collaboration tools, like shared digital whiteboards, instant messaging integrated into project platforms, secure file sharing systems. It's all very integrated.
So the tech enables the process.
The tech is crucial. It allows for this continuous workflow. It ensures that a structural engineer in, let's say, Chicago, can hand off a partially completed design revision at 5 p.m. their time, knowing their counterpart in, maybe Hyderabad, can pick it up instantly. That's 2:30 a.m. their time, work on it for their full shift.
While the Chicago engineer sleeps.
Exactly. And have it ready for seamless review with updates and progress made by the time the U.S. team logs back on the next morning. This isn't just about overlapping a few hours. It's a truly integrated, continuous development cycle.
That real-time continuous flow. Yeah, that does sound like a game changer. It must really break down that feeling of a disconnected workflow.
It absolutely does.
But okay, here's a question that often comes up. How does AXA Engineers ensure that the domestic teams still feel valued, that their core expertise isn't somehow being sidelined? Because that's a genuine concern for many engineers here.
And it's a vital point, a completely valid concern. It's addressed through a very clear, very strategic role differentiation that's absolutely fundamental to AXA Engineers' balance philosophy. The domestic professionals, they remain firmly at the forefront. They handle the high-level decision-making, the strategic design concepts, the direct client interface, and all the critical thinking that really drives a project's overall vision and direction.
So the project leaves the conceptualizers.
Exactly. They're the primary communicators with the client, the ones setting the strategic direction. Meanwhile, the offshore teams provide that continuous, dedicated, and importantly, highly skilled technical and drafting support.
Okay, so what kind of tasks are we talking about for the offshore teams?
They're meticulously executing the detailed designs based on the strategic direction, preparing the complex construction documents, performing intricate calculations, handling the vast amount of CAD and BIM modeling, the digital backbone of any major civil engineering project.
Right, the really detailed, labor-intensive work that needs precision.
Precision and consistency. And this isn't just task delegation. Its structure is a true synergy. It means domestic teams can focus their high-value expertise, their time, on that strategic oversight, on innovation, on complex problem-solving and nurturing client relationships.
The things that really require that deep local context and experience.
Precisely. While the offshore teams ensure that the project keeps moving forward efficiently, often literally around the clock, which significantly accelerates project timelines.
So it's a collaboration.
It truly fosters a cooperative global workforce where both regions genuinely benefit. It is absolutely not a zero-sum game where one side loses for the other to gain. That's critical to understand about AXA's model.
And the benefits for each side?
Well, for developed nations, it means they preserve control over that critical strategic expertise. They ensure that core knowledge and leadership remain in-house, preventing the kind of skill erosion that some might fear from traditional outsourcing.
Okay, that addresses the domestic concern directly.
It does, and for developing countries, it provides this unparalleled opportunity. They gain meaningful international experience, they get to apply cutting-edge methodologies on major projects, and they achieve long-term career growth in high-value civil engineering fields. This is genuinely transformative for individual engineers, for their families, and ultimately for their local economies.
That's a powerful impact.
It really is. So what AXA Engineers is truly doing through their approach to civil engineering outsourcing is reinforcing this positive vision. They're building a truly global, interconnected team, not just acting as some arm's-length service provider in the traditional sense.
Here's where it gets really compelling for me. This idea that civil engineering outsourcing, when done right, like the AXA Engineers model seems to suggest, has fundamentally transformed the global engineering workforce. The impact, especially for developing countries, is just huge.
It's profound.
Think about it. This shift has literally opened doors wide for highly skilled engineers in regions like Southeast Asia, India, Eastern Europe, places where previously they might have been limited to much smaller local projects or faced really restricted career paths.
Limited opportunities, yeah.
Now they're participating in high-value, complex international infrastructure projects. I mean, everything from intricate bridge designs that require advanced analysis to large-scale urban planning initiatives to critical water treatment facilities in bustling metropolitan areas overseas.
Projects with global significance.
Exactly. They're gaining invaluable hands-on experience that, let's face it, would otherwise be completely out of reach for many of them.
And it's not just the type of work, right? It's also about access.
Absolutely. Access is key. These engineers get direct exposure to cutting-edge technologies. We're talking the latest versions of industry-standard software, like AutoCAD Civil 3D, Revit, maybe specialized structural analysis tools like SAP 2000 or STAAD.Pro, things that cost a lot and require constant updating.
Tools that might not be standard locally.
Right. And they learn modern project management methodologies, maybe agile principles applied to engineering, best practices in quality assurance, things that might take years, maybe even decades, to organically reach their local markets otherwise.
That knowledge transfer is critical.
And perhaps most impactful, certainly on an individual level, is the compensation. These engineers often have the opportunity to earn significantly higher wages than what's typically available in their local markets. Sometimes it's a multiple of local salaries.
Which makes a massive difference. It's huge. And this isn't just about individual financial success, though that's important. These benefits actually fuel regional economic growth. That increased disposable income creates a multiplier effect in local economies. It stimulates small businesses, improves access to education for families, and fosters the development of this highly skilled engineering talent pool locally. It creates a powerful ripple effect that boosts entire industries, elevates living standards, and genuinely helps bridge that global economic divide. It's a truly transformative, empowering aspect of modern, responsible civil engineering outsourcing.
And while those advantages are undeniably clear and, as you said, profound, it's also really important to acknowledge the common concerns that come up. One region, through civil engineering outsourcing, we don't inadvertently erode the critical expertise base in another. How do we avoid creating a long-term dependency on external talent pools for really strategic capabilities? Yeah, that's the worry, isn't it? Especially for professionals in developed nations. They sometimes worry about potentially shrinking job opportunities, particularly for those entry and mid-level roles, as companies look for lower-cost alternatives abroad, particularly in areas like drafting or basic design.
It's a very real concern, and it needs to be addressed proactively. And this is precisely where AXA Engineers truly shines, I think, in its deep commitment to shared prosperity and, importantly, long-term sustainability for the profession globally. They've proactively developed a counter-strategy. It goes far beyond simple task delegation. It's fundamentally about building capacity, not just consuming it cheaply.
So it's an investment, not just an expense line.
Absolutely. They've fundamentally integrated comprehensive knowledge transfer and rigorous cross-cultural training directly into their core operational model. This isn't some afterthought, or a nice-to-have HR initiative. It is absolutely fundamental to how they operate every single day.
Can you give an example of that integration?
Sure. For example, AXA Engineers' offshore teams aren't just executing tasks blindly. They are meticulously trained, often through rigorous multi-month programs, specifically in U.S. standards, think ASCE, ASTM, AS2 specifications, relevant local building codes alongside advanced project workflows, and global best practices in quality control and communication.
So they learn the context as well as the task.
Precisely the context. This ensures that all global teams work under a unified framework. It maintains absolute consistency and, frankly, unparalleled quality across the board, regardless of where the engineer is physically located.
So it's not just about what they do, but really how they think and how they integrate with the existing U.S. or client-specific frameworks. That sounds like it would directly alleviate many of those domestic concerns about quality and consistency.
Absolutely, because this approach strengthens domestic oversight. The work adheres precisely to local regulations and client expectations, maintaining those high standards everyone expects. And at the same time, it allows the international teams to grow their technical expertise in areas that are directly relevant to complex global projects. It creates this robust, distributed knowledge base across the entire organization.
A shared brain, almost.
In a way, yes. So, in essence, AXA Engineers transforms civil engineering outsourcing from what could be seen, perhaps cynically, as a one-sided cost-cutting tool into this powerful, multifaceted platform for shared economic and professional advancement.
It sounds like a genuine win-win.
It becomes a genuine win-win scenario. Expertise grows globally rather than just consolidating in one place or eroding in another. They truly understand, I believe, that the long-term sustainability and vibrancy of the entire civil engineering profession depend on fostering skill development and maintaining excellence everywhere.
Okay, so we've talked about workflows, skills, economics. But what about the really critical stuff? What does all this mean when these essential engineering projects, the very backbone of our modern world, cross borders?
Ah, yes, the ethical dimension.
Exactly. They inevitably cross ethical, regulatory, and quality boundaries too. And this is, without any exaggeration, a critical point for anyone considering civil engineering outsourcing.
Non-negotiable.
Think about the inherent complexities involved. Different countries operate under vastly different building codes. You've got European Euro codes, American IBC, specific state codes, local municipal ordinances. It's a patchwork.
And distinct labor laws, environmental regulations.
Right, specific professional licensing standards. If this is managed carelessly or just without a deep, nuanced understanding of all these complexities, well, it can lead to a host of significant, potentially catastrophic problems.
The risks are enormous.
You could end up with poor quality designs that compromise structural integrity, creating serious safety risks for the public. You could face major project delays, huge cost overruns, damage to reputation, and in the worst-case scenario, even catastrophic infrastructure failures. People's lives are at stake.
Absolutely.
So the question then becomes, how do you ensure that when you engage in civil engineering outsourcing, you're still guaranteeing world-class quality and unwavering safety for everyone involved? How do you uphold the highest ethical standards? It's not just about meeting a checklist. It's about having absolute confidence in the integrity and reliability of the work.
That's a profoundly important question, and frankly, the answer separates the responsible providers from the rest. What's truly fascinating here is AXA Engineers' unwavering, almost foundational commitment to addressing these critical concerns head-on within their civil engineering outsourcing model. They don't just pay lip service to quality or ethics, they've meticulously built their entire operational framework around it. It's an intrinsic part of every single project they undertake.
How so? What are the mechanisms?
They tackle these challenges with incredibly robust, multi-layered solutions. Firstly, they enforce a strict, non-negotiable alignment of all their processes with international engineering standards, and crucially, with the specific codes and regulations of the client's project location.
Tailored to each project's jurisdiction.
Precisely. So for a U.S. project, this means unwavering adherence to codes like the International Building Code, IBC, American Society of Civil Engineers, ASCE standards, maybe specific state DOT requirements or city regulations. Every single step, from the initial design concepts right through to detailed calculations and final drafting, adheres to these globally recognized benchmarks for quality, precision, and safety.
And how's that enforced?
Through continuous internal audits, rigorous peer reviews, and a multi-tiered quality control process that often involves senior engineers in both the offshore and domestic locations double-checking critical elements. Secondly, and just as important, they invest heavily in continuous technical training and professional development for all their teams, regardless of location.
You mentioned training earlier.
Yes, but it bears repeating in this context. This isn't a one-off orientation session. It's an ongoing, structured commitment to ensuring their engineers are always up to date with the latest techniques, the newest technologies, and crucially, the latest safety protocols and ethical considerations in the field.
So it's dynamic.
Very dynamic. For instance, teams receive regular training on new software updates, advanced analysis methods, perhaps even emerging material sciences or sustainable design practices. And this extends beyond just the technical skills. It includes critical aspects like intellectual property protection, data security protocols, things that are paramount in these cross-border collaborations.
So it's really about embedding a culture of vigilance and continuous learning, rather than just relying on initial certifications or hoping for the best.
Precisely. It's about building quality and ethics into the very DNA of the team. And the result is consistently exceptional project delivery. Their projects meet the same rigorous safety and quality benchmarks that clients rightly expect from their most trusted in-house teams. In fact, we've seen instances where AXA's own internal quality checks have caught potential issues, subtle design conflicts, or calculation errors that might have otherwise gone unnoticed, potentially saving clients significant time, money, and headaches down the line.
That speaks volumes about their process.
It does. It means that engaging with AXA engineers for your civil engineering outsourcing needs does not, and absolutely will not, come at the expense of public safety, project integrity, or ethical responsibility. This isn't just about compliance with regulations, ticking boxes. It's about operating with integrity at every single level of their operation, from the initial sketch to the final project approval.
That's crucial.
They understand that in civil engineering, the stakes are incredibly high. We're dealing with lives, public funds, community well-being. It's serious business. So they build trust and reliability into every facet of their model, ensuring that every partnership is founded on this unwavering dedication to quality and ethical conduct. It's about building confidence, literally and figuratively, into the very foundations of the projects they help bring to life, ensuring a safer, more resilient built environment for everyone.
Okay, so beyond the immediate project benefits, the efficiency, the quality, the ethics, civil engineering outsourcing also plays this really crucial role in shaping the very future of global engineering talent. We touched on this earlier, but it's worth digging into more.
It's a long-term impact, absolutely.
For engineers in developing countries, working on these complex international projects through sophisticated outsourcing models like AXAs provides invaluable exposure. It's not just about getting the work done day to day. It's about direct access to advanced technologies, seeing the latest iterations of modern project management workflows in action, absorbing global best practices. Things that might otherwise be completely unavailable or take a significantly long time to trickle down into their local markets.
It accelerates their development massively.
Imagine an engineer in, say, a smaller developing nation getting the chance to contribute meaningfully to the design of a cutting-edge high-speed rail system in Europe or a complex water infrastructure upgrade for a major global city. That kind of experience is just priceless for their career trajectory.
And for their home country's capabilities, eventually.
Exactly. This knowledge transfer, which you highlighted, is a critical component of the AXA Engineers model, is profoundly impactful. It helps strengthen local engineering industries over time, elevating their capabilities, building a more competitive and ultimately more self-sufficient workforce. It's truly a long-term strategic investment in human capital on a global scale.
It's nation building in a small way.
In a way, yes.
Yeah.
Now, contrast this with what we might call the transactional risk. If civil engineering outsourcing is approached purely from a cost-driven perspective, with absolutely no thought given to professional development or reciprocal learning,
The race to the bottom.
right, then offshore teams risk being reduced to mere low-cost labor, just cogs in a machine. This stunts professional growth. It limits skill development to very narrow tasks, and ultimately it reinforces dependency on foreign clients. It completely undermines the potential for sustainable local growth and innovation. That's a real trap, and it sounds like it's one AXA Engineers actively works to avoid.
That's a vital distinction to make, and it raises that important question again. How do we ensure that civil engineering outsourcing genuinely becomes a catalyst for profound growth and empowerment, rather than just a simplistic, short-term, cost-saving transaction that might, maybe inadvertently, hinder long-term development?
That's the crux of it.
And this is precisely where AXA Engineers distinguishes itself, I believe, with its truly unique mentorship-driven approach to civil engineering outsourcing. They fundamentally understand that a genuine partnership involves far more than just delegating tasks across time zones. It involves a deep, abiding commitment to fostering capability and growth on both sides of the equation.
Mentorship-driven, that's an interesting phrase. How does that manifest?
Well, they emphasize comprehensive knowledge sharing, not just one-way instruction. They implement structured training programs that go beyond basic software use. And they cultivate this vibrant culture of collaborative problem solving that really permeates every level of their organization. It's not about simply telling their offshore teams what to do. It's about teaching them how to think critically within the project's constraints, how to innovate within global standards, and how to apply global best practices effectively to specific, sometimes local challenges.
So empowering them to be problem solvers, not just task doers.
Precisely. This means things like regular virtual workshops on specific technical topics, dedicated senior engineers in the US or Europe acting as mentors for offshore team members, Shared learning platforms where design challenges and innovative solutions are openly discussed across teams.
That sounds like a truly integrated learning environment, much more than a typical client-vendor relationship.
Exactly right. It breaks down those silos. And by actively engaging in this kind of sustained mentorship, AXA Engineers actively helps cultivate robust, world-class engineering capacity in their outsourcing destinations. They're empowering professionals in truly meaningful, long-term ways. They're investing not just in their own offshore team, but arguably in the future of the global engineering workforce as a whole.
That's a big statement.
It is, but I think their model supports it. And here's another fascinating, often overlooked aspect of this approach. They also actively promote what you could call reverse knowledge transfer.
Reverse knowledge transfer, what's that?
This is where the client teams, the domestic engineers back in the US or Europe, actually gain fresh insights or even adopt innovative techniques that are introduced by the global talent within AXA Engineers.
Ah, so the learning flows both ways.
Absolutely. For example, maybe an AXA offshore team, because they're exposed to a wider range of international standards or perhaps specific software innovations from different regions, might introduce a more efficient parametric modeling approach for a particular structural element. Or maybe a novel method for calculating stormwater runoff based on a technique used elsewhere.
That the U.S. team then sees the value in and adopts.
Precisely, leading to significant time savings or improved design quality on future projects for the domestic firm. It happens more often than you might think when you create a truly collaborative environment.
That's fascinating. It really flips the script on the traditional outsourcing power dynamic.
It does. It creates this powerful two-way learning dynamic that genuinely strengthens both sides. It makes civil engineering outsourcing through AXA Engineers not just a business arrangement, but a true partnership in every sense of the word. They are actively building bridges of knowledge and expertise, fostering this global community of skilled engineers who learn from each other, elevate each other's work, and inspire each other. This holistic view of talent development and mutual growth, I think, is a cornerstone of AXA Engineers' success and why their model stands out as truly visionary in the field.
So, okay, let's try and pull this all together. What does all this mean for the bigger picture? We've seen today that civil engineering outsourcing, especially when you look at it through the lens of a company like AXA Engineers, is far more than just a simple business strategy.
Much more.
It is a profound social and economic force. It's actively shaping the future of how we design, how we build, and how we maintain the world's critical infrastructure. And it holds this immense potential, not just for corporate bottom lines, obviously, but for creating vital jobs in regions that really need them most for spreading cutting-edge technical knowledge across continents.
And for fostering truly groundbreaking international collaboration, the kind that's needed to solve complex global challenges like climate adaptation or sustainable development.
Exactly. Now, we've also acknowledged the common risks often associated with more traditional, maybe less thoughtful outsourcing things like the potential for job displacement in developed countries, the risk of inconsistent quality, or navigating those tricky ethical challenges.
Are real risks if not managed properly.
But crucially, what we've highlighted today is that these risks are not inevitable. They are not inherent to outsourcing itself.
There are consequences of a particular approach.
Precisely. And this is where a company like AXA Engineers truly shines. They are demonstrating, I think quite clearly, with every single project they undertake, that civil engineering outsourcing can be both economically efficient and profoundly socially responsible.
It's not an either-or proposition.
Not with their model, it seems. By prioritizing fair labor practices, by maintaining the absolute highest technical standards across the board, and by investing so deeply in cross-cultural collaboration and that comprehensive knowledge transfer we discussed. AXA Engineers proves that civil engineering outsourcing can genuinely uplift communities globally while consistently delivering world-class engineering solutions. Solutions that meet the most stringent demands for quality, for safety, and for innovation.
Well said. And if we connect this to that bigger picture, as the civil engineering industry continues its inevitable journey towards greater globalization, and it is inevitable.
No turning back now.
No. The challenge, then, is clear for the industry as a whole. Outsourcing should never, ever be treated merely as a cost-saving tactic or as some kind of race to the bottom for the cheapest possible labor. That's a dead end.
A short-sighted view.
Extremely short-sighted. Instead, it absolutely must be embraced as a profound opportunity, an opportunity to build a more inclusive, a more skilled, and a truly interconnected global engineering world. Imagine that world for a moment. where technical knowledge flows freely across borders, enhancing capabilities everywhere, where economies grow together in shared prosperity, not at each other's expense, and where our vital infrastructure is designed not only with impeccable technical excellence, but also with a profound sense of social responsibility and long-term sustainability in mind. Building a better future, truly, for everyone.
That's the vision.
That's the potential. So the question really becomes, for you, the listener, are you ready to design your next project, not just for today's immediate needs, but for a truly collaborative, highly efficient, and globally responsible future with AXA Engineers? What could a partnership like that unlock for your team, for your project's success, and ultimately for the world at large?
A powerful question to consider.
We strongly encourage you to reach out to AXA Engineers today. Explore how their unique, balanced approach to civil engineering outsourcing can transform your vision into reality and significantly elevate your capabilities. Find out what that partnership could look like. And please don't forget to follow this show and comment on this deep dive. We always value your input, your questions, your perspectives. They help us immensely in shaping these conversations.